problem with traditional nursing homes and why seniors are looking for alternatives. For many older adults, the word nursing home brings up a mix of fear, sadness, and a sense of finality. It's often seen as the last stop, a place you go when independence is lost and choices disappear. But what if we told you that moving into a nursing home isn't the only option? In fact, millions of seniors today are choosing alternative lifestyles that give them freedom, purpose, and safety without sacrificing dignity. Let's be honest. The traditional nursing home model, shared rooms, strict schedules, limited mobility, institutional food, feels outdated in a world where seniors are living longer, staying sharper, and expecting more from their golden years. Many facilities are understaffed, overbooked, and designed more for medical efficiency than emotional well-being. I want to introduce you to Betty. She's 78 and full of life, a retired teacher, book club member, and plant lover. After her husband passed, her children urged her to move into an assisted facility. They meant well, but Betty toured 3 places and came home in tears. It felt like I'd be giving up everything, she said. My space, my rhythm, my identity. So instead, Betty started researching alternative options, things she had never heard about before. And what she discovered changed everything. Because here's the truth. A wave of new independent living models is rising across the country. Designed to support aging with autonomy, these alternatives offer seniors like Betty the power to design their lives the way they want, even if they need a little help along the way. Whether it's small co-living setups, aging-in-place tech, mobile home villages, or care-sharing communities, seniors are reinventing how we age, and they're not waiting for permission. The rise of shared senior co-living, companionship without sacrificing freedom. Imagine living in a spacious home with a handful of other seniors, each person with their own private room or suite, but sharing a beautiful kitchen, garden, and common areas. There's a rotation for cooking, movie nights in the living room, and someone always nearby in case of emergency. That's the model of senior co-living, and it's one of the most rapidly growing trends in modern aging. Why is it working? Because it brings back what many nursing homes take away: choice, control, and connection. Take the story of Harold and Joe. Best friends since college, both widowers now in their late 70s. Rather than live alone or enter a facility, they rented a 4-bedroom ranch with 2 other seniors. They share grocery bills, cook meals together, and even hired a part-time aide who visits 3 times a week for health checks and light housekeeping. They're thriving, mentally, emotionally, and financially. Some key benefits of co-living: lower cost. Expenses are shared, which means better meals, safer housing, and even part-time caregivers at a fraction of nursing home prices. Mental health. Loneliness is one of the biggest threats to seniors. Co-living keeps social bonds strong. Adaptability. Houses can evolve with mobility needs, adding stair lifts, grab bars, and more without losing the sense of home. If you're worried about independence, don't be. These homes offer privacy and structure, not restrictions. Some online platforms now even match seniors based on interests, health needs, and lifestyles. Kind of like a roommate finder, but built for older adults. Of course, co-living isn't for everyone. Some prefer more solitude or need more direct medical support. But for the active, curious, and community-minded senior, this is a powerful alternative that fosters friendship, agency, and joy. Smart aging in place. How technology is letting seniors stay home longer. One of the most empowering shifts for seniors in recent years has been the rise of smart aging in place technology. In simple terms, That means staying in your own home, comfortably, safely, and independently, thanks to a few helpful tech upgrades. Remember the old fear? That living alone after 70 meant danger? A fall could go unnoticed? A forgotten stove could cause a fire? But now, technology is changing the game. Take a look at how seniors today are using simple tools to create powerful safety nets. Voice assistants, like Alexa or Google Home. Seniors can set medication reminders, call family with their voice, or even control lights without standing up. Smart sensors. These track movement and alert caregivers if there's a long period of inactivity, without invading privacy. Automatic lights and fall sensors. Lights turn on as you walk into a room. Fall detection systems immediately notify emergency contacts. Medication dispensers. These machines sort pills and notify you when it's time to take them, eliminating confusion. Video doorbells and smart locks. See who's at the door and control access remotely for added security. Let's look at Martha. She's 81, lives alone, and refused to leave her house after her husband died. Her family was scared. But with smart plugs, motion lights, a fall sensor bracelet, and Alexa to call for help, she's now safer than ever, and happier too. Let's look at Martha. She's 81, lives alone, and refused to leave her house after her husband died. Her family was scared. But with smart plugs, motion lights, a fall sensor bracelet, and Alexa to call for help, she's now safer than ever, and happier too. These tools are affordable, especially compared to nursing home costs. And many states even offer funding or grants to help install them. But aging in place isn't just about gadgets. It also means hiring part-time home aides, even just for 2 hours a day, meal delivery services designed for seniors, telehealth checkups that bring the doctor to your screen. You create a hybrid support system, tech plus part-time help, so you can stay home, stay sharp, and stay in charge. Tiny homes and senior villages. Small spaces, big freedom. In the heart of Oregon, a group of seniors lives in a circle of small, beautiful homes. Each house is under 600 square feet, easy to clean, cheap to heat, and custom designed with aging bodies in mind. The community shares a garden, a communal kitchen, and hosts weekly dinners. No nurses, no institutional walls, just neighbors who watch out for each other. Welcome to the tiny home and modular village movement, a bold and refreshing answer to senior living. Tiny homes offer the ultimate blend of privacy and simplicity. These aren't glorified sheds. They're elegant, energy-efficient, and designed with features like zero-step entries, wide doorways, walk-in showers, and emergency call buttons. Why are seniors choosing this path? Cost savings. Owning or renting a tiny home costs far less than nursing homes or full-size properties. Mobility. Many tiny homes are modular and can be placed in a child's backyard, perfect for staying close to family without giving up independence. Community. Many villages have rules against isolation, encouraging shared meals, walks, and mutual caregiving. Let me introduce James and Linda. In their late 70s, they sold their big house and downsized to a custom-built tiny home near their daughter's place. James says, "I feel more free now than I did at 40. They grow herbs, video chat with grandkids, and have game nights with fellow tiny home neighbors." There are even companies now designing portable elder cottages, also known as granny pods, that can be parked in a backyard and connected to water and power. Tiny homes offer independence without isolation, affordability without compromise, comfort without clutter. If you're someone who values simplicity, nature, and people, you may find tiny living is the biggest gift you give yourself. But what if you're not into co-living? or tiny houses? What if you crave independence but still want easy access to care? Intergenerational communities, the future of aging with purpose and people. Imagine this. You walk outside and see children playing, teens helping with groceries, and a retired nurse hosting a free health clinic in the community hall. You're not in a facility. You're in a village where every generation lives together and everyone has a role to play. That's the heart of intergenerational care communities, one of the most forward-thinking alternatives to nursing homes in the modern world. These communities intentionally mix seniors with younger residents, students, single parents, young professionals, in ways that benefit both. You might live next door to a young couple who helps with errands while you offer tutoring, gardening help, or simply a listening ear. The magic here is purpose. Seniors thrive when they feel useful, not just cared for. Young people thrive when they have mentors and stability. Together, they form powerful bonds that transcend age. Real-world examples. In the Netherlands, students live rent-free in senior homes in exchange for 30 volunteer hours per month. U.S. cities like Cleveland and Austin are developing mixed-age neighborhoods with shared parks, grocery co-ops, and wellness centers. Some nonprofits are launching senior foster homes where older adults support children in need, creating mutual healing. Here's the story of Joan. At 82, she moved into a shared apartment above a daycare. She reads to the toddlers, eats lunch with staff, and teaches knitting to teenage volunteers. "I laugh more now than I did in my 60s, she says. These communities provide emotional richness. Laughter, play, and learning are daily vitamins. Safety nets. There's always someone nearby to check in. Low-cost living. Shared services reduce bills for everyone. It's a model rooted in belonging, not just support. Now, here's you don't need to wait until it's time for a nursing home. The future of aging is about choice, connection, and courage. Talk to your family about these alternatives. Research co-living, smart tech, tiny homes, or care communities near you. Start small. Modify your home, reach out to a friend, or explore new housing models. And most importantly, share this video. Someone you love needs to know there's more than one path to grow older. Hit subscribe if you want more human-centered health and lifestyle advice for life after 60. You're not just aging, you're living forward. Let's do it on your terms. Let me ask you a serious question. What separates the small group of seniors who remain sharp, active, and independent after 80 from the rest who slowly fade into weakness, dependency, and isolation? It's not luck, it's not magic, and it's not just genetics. It's functionality. It's the ability to do 5 key things that, according to doctors and geriatric health studies, are directly tied to long life, freedom, and vibrant health. Now here's the shocking truth. Only 5% of people over 80 can still do all 5. That means 95 out of 100 seniors gradually lose one or more of these abilities, and once that decline starts, it rarely stops. One misstep turns into fear of falling. One skipped walk turns into muscle loss. One lost ability turns into needing full-time care. But those 5%, they're doing something differently. They're defying the odds. And you know what? Many of them didn't start out strong. Many had setbacks, surgeries, chronic diseases. Some lost loved ones. Some battled loneliness. But they did something the rest didn't. They protected these 5 abilities like their life depended on it, because it does. In this 6-part series, I'm going to show you exactly what these 5 physical and mental capabilities are, why they matter so much after 80, and how you can start reclaiming them today, even if you've already lost one. Because it's never too late to get stronger, more balanced, and more confident in your body again. But first, we need to set the stage. Let's talk about what aging really looks like for most people after 80. Because once you understand the trap, you'll be far more motivated to avoid it. Most seniors after 80 begin to enter what doctors call the frailty zone. That's a clinical term, frailty. And it's not about age, it's about function. It means a person is walking slower, losing strength, fatigued easily, and is at greater risk of falls, hospitalizations, and death. Frailty doesn't happen overnight. It builds up from decades of sedentary habits, poor nutrition, lost muscle, and unchallenged balance. And once someone becomes frail, it's like a cascade effect. Every system of the body weakens faster. But here's the inspiring part. Frailty is preventable, and in many cases, it's reversible. The seniors who stay out of this danger zone, they're the ones who keep moving, who stay mentally alert, who challenge their balance and mobility every day, who prioritize protein, hydration, strength, and sleep. They don't wait until they feel frail to act. They act to stay ahead of it. Now let me tell you something that will shift your perspective. In a large gerontology study published in the Journal of Aging and Health, researchers found that older adults who could maintain 5 specific daily capabilities had twice the chance of reaching 90+ in good health. Not just living longer, but living stronger. So what are these 5 things only 5% of seniors can still do after 80? They are: get up from the floor without using their hands, climb a full flight of stairs without stopping, walk a half mile without assistance, lift and carry 10 to 15 pounds comfortably, balance on one foot for 10 seconds or longer. Each of these might sound simple at first glance, but when you're 80, they're powerful indicators of total body function: muscle, joint health, core strength, heart and lung capacity, proprioception, and nervous system balance. The power of rising from the floor, the ultimate longevity test. Of all the 5 abilities that define functional independence after 80, this one is the most underrated and overlooked. Can you get up from the floor without using your hands? At first glance, it seems like a simple movement, a basic physical task. But in reality, this ability is one of the most powerful predictors of longevity, fall recovery, and total body resilience. Let me explain. In a landmark Brazilian study involving over 2,000 adults aged 51 to 80, researchers found that individuals who could sit and rise from the floor without using their hands, knees, or support had a significantly lower risk of death over the next 6 years. In fact, those with the lowest scores on this test were 5 to 6 times more likely to die during the study period. Why? Because this movement reflects multiple systems working together: muscle strength, joint flexibility, balance, core coordination, and nervous system control. When you're 30 or 40, you don't think twice about getting off the ground. But as we age, everything from arthritis to muscle loss to poor balance makes this motion harder. And if you fall or collapse and can't rise again, without help, it becomes a medical emergency. That's why doctors now refer to this as the sit-to-rise longevity test. It's not about convenience. It's about survival. Here's the thing. Most people after 80 lose this ability because they stop practicing it. You don't use it, you lose it. We stop sitting on the ground. We avoid kneeling. We forget how to shift our weight. We become stiff, hesitant, and fragile. And once the brain starts believing the floor is dangerous, the body follows by tensing up and avoiding it altogether. But what if I told you that you can relearn this skill, that it's never too late to train your body to move with more grace and confidence. Because thousands of seniors have done just that, with intention, patience, and simple daily practice. Let's talk about how. First, assess yourself safely. Sit on the floor with support nearby, a chair or sturdy coffee table. Try standing up without using your hands. If you can't do it, don't worry. That's your baseline. Now, here's how to rebuild this vital ability. Leg strengthening. Do chair squats daily. Sit and stand 10 to 15 times from a firm chair without using your hands. This builds quads, glutes, and hip stability. Core activation. Practice pelvic tilts and seated marches. These strengthen the deep muscles that stabilize your spine and pelvis. Flexibility work. Stretch your hip flexors, hamstrings, and calves gently every morning. When joints move freely, the body moves efficiently. Controlled descent practice. Practice sitting down on a cushion on the floor, using one hand at first if needed, then working toward using less support over time. Get up training. Once on the floor, roll to your side, place one foot flat, push up with your opposite hand, and rise to a kneeling position. Then plant one foot forward and stand. Repeat this 1 to 2 times a day with supervision. The key here is to stay consistent. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to tell your body, we're going to keep this skill alive. With just 5 to 10 minutes a day of dedicated practice, most seniors regain remarkable ease in this motion within weeks. And here's something emotional I want you to hear. Being able to get off the floor without help is about more than survival. It's about dignity. It means you can garden again, play with your grandkids on the carpet, stretch out to do morning exercises, pray, dance, live. This simple movement unlocks a sense of freedom. Freedom from fear, from embarrassment, from dependency. That's why it's the first and most sacred of the 5 longevity movements. And you can protect it even after 80. The strength to rise. Why climbing a full flight of stairs without stopping predicts heart and lung health after 80. There's something so symbolic, almost heroic, about a person in their 80s confidently walking up a full flight of stairs without hesitation. No gasping, no resting on the railing, just pure, steady strength. In fact, doctors often say that if you want to know whether a senior will still be alive and independent 5 years from now, don't check their blood pressure, watch them climb a staircase. Why? Because climbing stairs is one of the most powerful predictors of cardiovascular health, lung capacity, and muscular endurance in older adults. It activates every major muscle group in your lower body: quadriceps, hamstrings, glutes, and calves. It demands coordination from your joints and stability from your core. But most importantly, it challenges your heart and lungs to deliver oxygen efficiently. And here's the truth. By 80, most people can't do it, or won't. They avoid stairs at all costs. Elevators become the default. One short climb leaves them winded, lightheaded, or sore. But that decline didn't happen overnight. It came from years of choosing comfort over challenge. And every time the stairs were avoided, strength was lost. Yet in studies from cardiology and gerontology clinics across Europe and the US, seniors who could climb 10 to 12 steps without rest had up to 40% lower risk of death from all causes. That includes heart attacks, strokes, respiratory illness, and complications from immobility. Climbing stairs is like a stress test your body performs for you every day. And if you can still pass it at 80 or beyond, you're already beating the odds. But what if you can't? What if stairs scare you now? The good news is, just like rising from the floor, this is a skill you can rebuild. Even if you haven't climbed stairs in years, your body is listening. And it wants to grow strong again if you give it a reason. Let's start with daily strengthening habits that rebuild the muscles and stamina needed for stairs. Step-ups. Low surface. Use a sturdy platform 4 to 6 inches high. Step up with your right foot, then your left. Step down. Repeat 10 to 15 times per leg, once or twice a day. This mimics the stair motion. Wall sits. Stand against a wall. Slide down into a gentle squat. Hold for 10 to 30 seconds. This activates your thigh and hip muscles, critical for climbing. Seated marches. Sit in a sturdy chair and lift one knee at a time. Do 20 reps. This activates the hip flexors and core, essential for lifting your foot on each step. Breathing drills. Practice slow, deep breathing while walking. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Exhale through the mouth for 6. This strengthens lung control and oxygen efficiency. Mini stair practice. If you have access to 2 to 3 steps, begin by climbing just 1 step up and down slowly, holding a rail if needed. Over time, add more steps and reduce the support. Safety first. If you have knee pain, arthritis, or dizziness, speak with your doctor or physical therapist before attempting full stair climbs. But don't give up. There's always a progression. And here's something I always remind my patients. Climbing stairs isn't just physical, it's mental. It says, I can rise. I can go higher. I still have elevation in me. It's a symbol of autonomy, of still reaching up, even in your later years. If you've ever visited an older person who can no longer go upstairs in their own home, you know how quickly life gets limited. Bedrooms are relocated. Bathrooms become difficult. That little staircase becomes a wall. But for those who keep the ability to climb, doors stay open. Independence remains. Now imagine this. You're 84. You've just come back from the store. You carry your small grocery bag up your front steps, steady, unshaken. You feel your heart beating strong, your legs stable. You pause at the top, not because you're breathless, but because you're grateful. That is what these small exercises give you. Not just health, but pride. The 30-minute lifeline. Why walking half a mile without help predicts longevity, mood, and brain power. If you want to know whether someone over 80 will still be living independently next year, don't check their cholesterol. Don't look at their weight. Just watch them walk. Specifically, watch whether they can walk half a mile, roughly 1,000 steps, without assistance. No cane, no walker, no person holding their arm. That ability alone predicts how long they'll live, how well their brain will function, and how soon they'll need full-time care. Walking endurance is so powerful, it's now considered a functional vital sign by geriatric doctors. It's not just about mobility. It reflects cardiovascular strength, joint coordination, balance, oxygen efficiency, muscular stamina, and neuromotor function, all in one simple movement. Walking half a mile without stopping means your entire system is still integrated and resilient. But by the time most people reach 80, this distance becomes a challenge. Not because the body forgot how to walk, but because years of slowing down led to deconditioning. Here's what happens. We stop walking long distances out of habit. Muscle mass slowly declines, called sarcopenia. Joints stiffen, posture weakens. Lung capacity reduces. Fatigue shows up faster. Fear of falling makes us hesitant. And then when we need to walk, say at an airport, hospital, or family gathering, we realize we can't. In research from the Journal of the American Geriatric Society, seniors over 70 who could walk at least 0.5 miles per day had over 40% lower risk of cognitive decline and death within the next 5 years. Why? Because walking isn't just a leg exercise. It stimulates brain circulation, builds bone density, improves insulin sensitivity, reduces depression, and strengthens the immune system. So what can you do if you currently struggle with walking distance? Let's build it back, gently, safely, and daily. Here's a 4-week plan for walking independence. Week 1, baseline movement. Set a timer for 5 minutes. Walk at a comfortable pace, indoors or outdoors. Note how far you got and how you felt. Rest as needed. Do this twice per day. Week 2, increase by intervals. Add 1 to 2 minutes every 2 days. Use music or audio to stay motivated. Focus on upright posture, head up, shoulders back, gentle swing in arms. Week 3, distance focus. Measure out 0.25 miles, about 400 steps, or 2 to 3 city blocks. Walk that distance once per day, then twice. If balance is shaky, walk near a wall or railing. Safety first. Week 4, sustain the half-mile walk. 0.5 miles, 5 to 6 days a week. Do it in one go if possible. If not, take a short break halfway. If pain, arthritis, or neuropathy makes this difficult, use aquatic walking in a pool or a recumbent indoor bike to simulate the motion with less impact. The key is endurance, not speed. You're training your heart, lungs, and body to move freely without fear. And don't underestimate the mental benefits of walking. In studies on Alzheimer's prevention, seniors who walked at least 30 minutes a day had better memory, focus, and emotional well-being than those who didn't. Walking boosts endorphins, clears the mind, and reconnects you to your environment. Also, there's something emotionally powerful about walking unassisted. It says to the world, I'm still moving forward. It's about more than steps. It's about momentum. When you walk confidently, you feel less like a patient and more like a person in control. Carrying strength. Why lifting 10 to 15 pounds comfortably predicts independence, longevity, and confidence. There's a quiet dignity in being able to lift and carry your own groceries, or move a laundry basket, or pick up a small grandchild. For people over 80, this kind of functional strength isn't just a matter of convenience. It's a signal of independence, muscle preservation, and aging success. And that's why the ability to lift and carry 10 to 15 pounds comfortably makes our list of the 5 essential capabilities that only 5% of seniors maintain after 80. Let's put this into perspective. A gallon of milk weighs about 8.5 pounds. A medium grocery bag usually weighs between 10 and 15 pounds. So the simple act of carrying 2 grocery bags up a flight of stairs or from the car to the kitchen is a full-body test. It requires hand grip strength, forearm and bicep activation, shoulder stability, core engagement, leg strength, and balance. And it tells doctors far more than you might think. Studies show that seniors with higher grip strength live longer, recover faster from illness, have fewer falls, and even have lower rates of cognitive decline. In fact, grip strength has been called a biomarker of aging. Why is grip so important? Because it reflects more than just your hands. It's a stand-in for total body function. When your nervous system, muscles, and joints are communicating well, grip strength is high. When your body is under stress, metabolic, nutritional, or neurological, it weakens. And when you stop lifting things altogether, when someone else carries the bags, lifts the laundry, opens the jars, your muscles begin to shrink, your tendons stiffen, and your independence fades faster than you realize. Now here's the good news. Strength loss after 60 is not inevitable. It's reversible, and it doesn't take hours in a gym to restore it. With a few basic daily movements and intentional lifting, most seniors can rebuild strength in weeks. Here's how to train your lifting and carrying ability safely after 60 or 70. Grocery bag carries, light. Fill a tote bag with light items, books, cans, water bottles. Walk across the room with one bag in each hand. Do this once or twice a day. Gradually add more weight over time. Farmer's carries. Use light dumbbells, soup cans, or water jugs. Hold one in each hand, shoulders down, core tight. Walk slowly for 30 seconds. Rest, repeat. Deadlifts with a backpack. Stand with a backpack full of soft weight, towels, books. Hinge at the hips. Bend your knees and lift the bag from the floor using your legs. Keep your back flat. This trains safe lifting form. Seated bicep curls. With light weights, curl your arms up while seated. 10 reps per arm, twice a day. Builds forearm and upper arm strength. Grip squeezes. Use a tennis ball, towel, or grip trainer. Squeeze and hold for 5 seconds. Relax. Do 10 reps per hand. Great for hand strength and coordination. Do all of these slowly and mindfully. You're not training for powerlifting. You're training for real life, for groceries, for laundry, for bags, for hugs, for confidence. And remember, lifting doesn't just strengthen muscles, it strengthens your identity. When you can still carry your own bag, you feel less like a burden, more capable, more respected. That emotional strength matters just as much as the physical kind. Many of my older patients tell me how good it feels when they no longer need help lifting something simple. I opened that stubborn jar myself, Doc. I brought in all the bags without stopping once. These small victories are massive. They say, I'm still strong, I'm still me. The 10-second rule. Balance and the #1 predictor of falling, hospitalization, and recovery speed after 80. Here we are, the final and perhaps most urgent of the 5 vital abilities that only 5% of people maintain after the age of 80. Balancing on one foot for at least 10 seconds. It seems so simple, so minor. But this one skill reveals more about your body's aging clock than most high-tech scans or blood tests. Because balance isn't just about posture. It's about brain health, nerve function, muscle coordination, and joint stability, working together in real time. ... In fact, studies from the British Journal of Sports Medicine show that people over 70 who can't balance on one foot for 10 seconds are twice as likely to die in the next 10 years, even if they don't have any known health conditions. Why? Because poor balance doesn't just lead to falls, it reflects hidden neurological decline, lost coordination, and slowed brain-body response times. Think of it like this. Every second you can balance on one foot after 80 is like a signal your body sends that says, I'm still sharp, I'm still connected. And if you can't do it today, don't worry. You can train it, like a muscle, and I'll show you how. But first, let's understand why balance matters so much after 80. As we age, several factors quietly chip away at our balance. Muscle loss, especially in the ankles and hips. Joint stiffness, less movement in knees, hips, spine. Vestibular decline, your inner ear's balance system. Vision changes. Eyes guide balance more than you realize. Slower brain response takes longer to detect and correct instability. The result? Seniors who once walked with confidence start to shuffle. They avoid curbs, uneven surfaces, getting into bathtubs, or walking in the dark. This leads to fewer steps, weaker muscles, more falls, and a dangerous spiral toward fragility. But the rare 5% who can still balance on one foot, they walk with purpose. They stand taller. They get out of chairs without grabbing something. And they recover from stumbles faster. Let's train this ability, safely and daily. Step 1, baseline test. Stand near a wall or countertop. Lift one foot slightly off the ground. Time how long you can hold without touching down or grabbing anything. Repeat with the other leg. If you can't reach 10 seconds, don't panic. Most people over 75 can't either. That's why we train it. Step 2, daily practice, 3 to 5 minutes. Supported stand. Hold onto a countertop with one hand, lift one foot, and hold for 15 seconds. Switch legs. Repeat 3 times per leg. Eyes open, no support. Try standing without holding anything. Eyes open, 1 foot lifted. Work toward 10 seconds. Eyes closed challenge. Only attempt this while lightly touching a counter. Close your eyes while lifting 1 foot. This trains inner ear balance. Step 3, functional movements. Heel to toe walking. Walk in a straight line, placing 1 foot directly in front of the other. This mimics a tightrope and trains coordination. Step overs. Place an object, like a rolled towel, on the floor and step over it slowly, focusing on control. These drills work best if done barefoot, on a firm surface, and preferably at the same time each day, like after brushing your teeth. Here's what I want you to know. Balance is a skill, and like any skill, you either train it or you lose it. Most people lose it by neglect, but if you train it just 5 minutes a day, you can dramatically reduce your risk of falls, fractures, especially hip fractures, emergency hospital visits, assisted living admission, loss of independence, and that's not all. Improved balance brings back confidence. You'll walk into a room without hesitation, step into a shower without fear, reach for a shelf without wobbling. These are not small victories, they're freedom. Let me tell you a story. One of my patients, Linda, age 84, came to me after 2 falls in a year. She said, "Doctor, I'm scared to walk around my own house." We worked on her balance with the exact drills I just shared. 3 months later, not only could Linda balance for 15 seconds on each foot, but she told me something I'll never forget. "I feel like I got my legs and my life back." And that's what I want for you. If you've made it through all 6 parts of this journey, congratulations. You now know the 5 abilities only 5% of seniors still have after 80. Get up from the floor without using your hands. Climb a full flight of stairs without stopping. Walk half a mile without assistance. Lift and carry 10 to 15 pounds easily. Balance on 1 foot for 10 seconds or more. If you can maintain or regain just 3 out of 5, your odds of staying healthy, independent, and alive for years to come skyrocket. So here's your mission. Start today. Pick one skill, commit 5 minutes to it. Then tomorrow, do the next. Your body is listening, and it wants to fight for you. Comment below, which skill will you work on first? Share this video with a senior friend or family member who needs to hear it. Subscribe to our channel for more practical senior health advice from me, Dr. James Hartley. You've got more strength in you than you think. Let's unlock it, one powerful movement at a time. At 70, many people are told, directly or indirectly, that their best days are behind them. Society tends to paint aging as a decline, a fade into quietness. But what if I told you the real secret to living well past 70 isn't about the absence of disease or even the presence of wealth, but about whether or not you wake up with purpose? Purpose isn't about having a job or chasing deadlines. It's deeper than that. It's the quiet hum in your chest when you open your eyes each morning. It's knowing that something you do today matters, even if it's just to one person, even if it's just to yourself. When a 70-year-old still wakes up with a reason to water the garden, to mentor a young person, to write, to volunteer, to feed the birds, to pray, to create, to love, they are winning at life. Let me tell you about Helen. She turned 71 last spring. A retired librarian, she spends her mornings walking to the community center with a stack of donated books. Every Tuesday, she leads a reading circle for underprivileged kids. "It's the reason I don't hit snooze," she laughs. "It's the reason I stretch, dress up, and stay sharp." Helen doesn't run marathons. She's not rich. She's had a knee replaced and takes medication daily. But she is fully alive because her life still feels meaningful. In fact, research backs this up. Studies from blue zones, places around the world where people live well into their 90s and beyond, consistently show that a sense of purpose, or ikigai as the Japanese call it, adds years to life. Purpose helps reduce stress hormones, stabilize blood pressure, and increase motivation to stay active and connected. Purpose doesn't have to be loud. You don't have to run a charity or teach at a university. Purpose can live in small, sacred routines. Sending a daily voice message to your grandchildren, growing herbs and gifting them to neighbors, writing letters to old friends, caring for a spouse or pet, recording life lessons to pass down. The point is, something must pull you forward. Purpose is what gets your feet on the ground and your heart out of bed. Without it, even the healthiest body begins to decline. With it, even a tired body will keep trying. Many older adults lose their sense of purpose when their careers end, when children move away, or when they outlive their spouse. But here's the beautiful truth. You can create new purpose at any stage. You can mentor younger people who need wisdom. You can join a cause that reflects your values. You can rediscover something that once brought you joy. Painting, poetry, prayer. There is no expiration date on meaning. If you're over 70 and still wake up thinking, "I have something to give, something to enjoy, something to complete," then you are already richer than most people your age. You are, in the deepest sense, winning. And if you don't yet feel this way, you're not too late. Purpose can be planted at 71, 81, or 91. And when it takes root, life becomes vibrant again. The second sign: you move your body every day, no matter how small the steps. If there's one universal truth about longevity, it's this: motion is medicine. At 70, 80, or even 90, the simple act of moving your body every single day, whether it's walking, stretching, dancing, or lifting a grocery bag, can be the difference between independence and decline. Let's be very clear. This isn't about going to the gym or having a six-pack. This is about staying engaged with your environment. Being able to get out of bed, open the refrigerator, bend down to pick something up, and walk down the hallway with confidence. These are not small things. These are the daily victories that keep life possible. When you move your body, you're telling it, "I still need you," and the body responds. Muscles don't fade as quickly. Bones don't weaken as fast. Joints stay lubricated. Blood keeps flowing. Lungs stay open. And perhaps most importantly, the mind stays sharp. Take Mr. Thomas, for example. He's 74, lives alone, and starts each morning with a 10-minute routine. A light stretch, 20 slow steps back and forth in his living room, and a few heel raises by the sink. That's it. But he hasn't missed a day in 5 years. His doctor says his balance is better than most 60-year-olds. Too often, seniors stop moving because they're afraid of falling. But ironically, It's the lack of movement that leads to weakness, which increases the fall risk even more. It becomes a cruel cycle, one we must break. The trick isn't doing more. It's doing something, consistently. March in place during commercials, walk the hallways after meals, use soup cans as light weights, do gentle ankle circles before bed, stretch your arms while sitting. These movements may seem insignificant, but science says otherwise. A study from Harvard found that just 15 minutes of light daily activity in older adults reduces risk of mortality by up to 22%. Movement also reduces joint stiffness, improves digestion, lowers blood pressure, and supports immune function. But beyond the physical, it builds mental confidence. The moment you stop fearing your own body is the moment you start trusting life again. And it doesn't have to be done alone. There are walking clubs for seniors, seated yoga videos online, and even TikTok grandmas dancing in their kitchens. The point is, your body is still willing. It just needs an invitation. So if you're 70 and you're still moving, even slowly, even imperfectly, you're not just functioning. You're fighting, you're living, you're winning. And if you're not yet moving daily, start now. Pick one movement, do it for a week, then add another. Let motion become your medicine. The third sign, you're still learning. Your mind hasn't retired. There's a quiet kind of rebellion in a 70-year-old learning something new. Society says, slow down, but you say, teach me. And that choice, to stay mentally active, is one of the clearest signs you're not just aging, you're aging brilliantly. Let's bust a myth right now. The brain does not have an expiration date. It's a living organ that thrives on challenge, stimulation, and novelty. In fact, neuroscience shows that new learning builds new neural pathways, even in older adults. The more you learn, the more connected and resilient your brain becomes. Learning doesn't have to mean sitting in a classroom. It can be trying a new recipe, watching documentaries, learning to use a smartphone or app, picking up a new hobby like sketching or puzzles, exploring genealogy or family history, reading a new genre. Every time you engage with something unfamiliar, you're exercising mental muscles. That's why seniors who continue learning are less likely to develop dementia and depression. Their brains remain elastic, curious, and adaptive. Take Rosa. She's 79 and recently started learning Italian through an app. She practices 20 minutes a day and writes down her favorite phrases. It keeps me on my toes, she laughs, and someday I'm going to Rome. She may or may not go, but the act of wanting to learn, the joy of progress, the stretching of her mind, that's what's making her feel 20 years younger. Learning also reactivates a part of the self that many seniors feel they've lost: agency. When you master a new skill or grasp a new idea, you feel powerful. You feel alive. You realize the world is still open to you. If you've ever looked up something new on YouTube, asked a grandchild how to use a feature on your phone, or read a book that challenged your thinking, you're already doing it. You're still learning, and that means you're still growing. But what if you haven't? What if you feel stuck in routine? Then let this be your invitation. Sign up for a local library event. Download a free audiobook. Start writing down your life story. Try journaling. Learn one new word a day. It's never too late, because when you stop learning, you stop expanding. And when you start again, even at 90, your world reopens. If you're 70 or beyond and still feeding your mind, you are not only surviving, you are thriving. You are winning. The fourth sign, you still laugh and connect with people. Joy and bonding still matter. If you're 70 or beyond and you still find reasons to laugh, you're winning at life more than you know. Laughter isn't just a byproduct of joy. It's a survival skill, especially as we age. Why? Because laughter connects us. It reduces stress, boosts the immune system, and reminds the brain that life is still worth showing up for. But this sign is about more than laughter. It's about connection. The quiet, healing power of companionship, friendship, and community. Whether it's a neighbor you wave to each morning, or a childhood friend you talk to on the phone once a week, staying socially connected is a lifeline for seniors. Let me share a story. John is 75 and lost his wife 4 years ago. For a while, he barely spoke to anyone. He stopped going out, stopped smiling. His daughter eventually convinced him to attend a weekly senior cafe at the local community center. The first few visits were hard, but then he met Harold, a retired train conductor who loved jazz just as much as John. They started talking, sharing stories, even playing dominoes. A few months later, John was laughing again. He was alive again. Connection heals. According to a Harvard study spanning 80 years, the single most consistent predictor of happiness and longevity wasn't income, health, or genetics. It was quality relationships. Not quantity, quality. Just a few good people in your circle can extend your life and improve your mood, sleep, and memory. You don't need a crowd. You need companions. A friend to share lunch with. A neighbor who checks in. A sibling who calls. A local group or club, the fifth sign you've made peace with the past and live in the now. Freedom of the mind. At 70, the mind becomes a museum of memories. Some beautiful, some painful, some we wish we could relive, and others we desperately wish we could forget. But here's the truth. Those who are truly winning at life in their 70s are not haunted by the past. They've made peace with it. Making peace doesn't mean forgetting or pretending. It means accepting, understanding that everything that happened, good or bad, shaped you, molded your strength, forged your compassion, gave you perspective. And once that acceptance comes, the mind finally lets go of the weight. You start living lighter. Seniors who make peace with their past don't dwell on regrets. They reflect, learn, forgive, and move forward. They don't replay old arguments or hold grudges for decades. They understand the value of serenity. They understand that time is too precious now to be spent looking backwards. Take Marjorie, for instance. At 76, she finally forgave herself for not being the perfect mother, for not finishing college, for the times she doubted herself. "It doesn't serve me anymore," she said. "The only thing that matters now is the next moment." There's wisdom in letting go, in no longer trying to rewrite the past, in no longer chasing approval or mourning things that didn't happen. That emotional freedom is rare, and it's one of the most powerful signs of a fulfilling life. But equally important is the ability to live in the now, to feel the sun on your face, to enjoy the taste of your morning tea, to listen to your grandchild's laughter without mentally drifting into yesterday's grief or tomorrow's fear. When you're present, you're alive. Not just existing, living. Being present doesn't require silence or meditation mats. It just means noticing. The way the breeze moves your curtain, the joy of a meal you cooked yourself, the calm of sitting alone without rushing to fill the silence, the gratitude for simply waking up today. Seniors who can stay present without being pulled into past mistakes or future worries are winning at a spiritual level. They become magnets of calm. People want to be around them. They radiate something most of us are still chasing: peace. And peace is not passive. It's the ultimate reward after decades of battling through life's storms. So, If you've made peace with your past and can feel joy in the ordinary present, you are not just living after 70. You're teaching the rest of us how to live. But there's still one final, most powerful sign left. The sixth sign: you give love freely and receive it with grace. The true meaning of winning at 70 plus. If you've reached 70 and your heart is still open, if you can still say, "I love you," still offer help, still smile at strangers, still hug someone without hesitation, then you are not just winning at life, you are shining. The final and most powerful sign of a life well lived after 70 is this: you give love freely without keeping score. And you allow yourself to receive it without guilt or resistance. This isn't the kind of love you had at 20. It's wiser. It's quieter. It's made of patience, empathy, forgiveness, and a deep knowing that love isn't just a feeling, it's a way of being. Too many people reach old age with walls built high from betrayal, grief, or pride. But the happiest, healthiest seniors, they've let those walls down. They let people in. They tell their family they care. They mentor. They pray for others. They cook, call, text, write, listen, visit. They love without needing anything in return. Take the story of Bill and Nora. Both in their 80s, they host a porch dinner every Sunday. Neighbors, grandkids, sometimes even strangers sit at their table. "You can't run out of love," Bill says, "so why not give it away like bread?" But just as important as giving love is receiving it. Many seniors struggle with this. They feel like burdens. They refuse help. They push away care. But here's the truth: allowing others to love you is a gift to them. It lets them express their own humanity. It teaches your children how to care. It shows your grandchildren what tenderness looks like. To receive love gracefully, without guilt, without protest, is to say, "I know my worth. I know I'm still lovable." Give and receive love freely. You're not just surviving. You're nourishing your spirit and others too. That's legacy. That's strength. That's beauty. So let's tie it all together. If you are 70 or beyond, and you wake up with purpose, you move daily, you keep learning, you connect and laugh, you live in the present, you give and receive love freely, then you, my friend, are truly winning at life. Here's your call to action. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it, someone who thinks aging is the end. Let them see what's possible. Subscribe for weekly insight, comfort, and keep this video short and motivation for life after 60. Leave a comment. What sign do you see in yourself? Or which one do you want to grow? Because this journey isn't over, not even close. You're not fading, you're blooming. Let's bloom together. Let me ask you something deeply personal. When was the last time you did something daily? Not once in a while, not after a doctor's warning, but every single day, that directly nourished your brain, your blood vessels, and your cancer-fighting cells. If you're like most seniors I see, the answer is, I'm not sure. And that uncertainty is where decline often begins. Today, I'm here not to scare you, but to empower you with one daily habit that science is now proving could reduce the risk of over 90% of age-related diseases. We're talking memory loss. We're talking clogged arteries. We're talking inflammation, diabetes, even cancer, all traced back to a single overlooked activity that, when practiced consistently, becomes a life-extending medicine. No, it's not a pill, not a supplement, not a fancy machine. It's something so simple and accessible that most people laugh when I tell them. It's daily walking. Yes, walking. Not sprinting, not marathons, not gym memberships, just good old-fashioned walking for 20 to 30 minutes a day. Now don't roll your eyes just yet, because what I'm about to share we'll show you how walking daily after 60 is not just about exercise. It's about rewiring your entire body from the inside out. It's about recharging brain cells, clearing out your arteries, lowering your cancer risk, improving your sleep, sharpening your focus, regulating blood sugar, boosting your immune system, and even enhancing your emotional health. Let's break it down. First, memory. Walking has been shown in MRI studies to literally grow the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and learning. A 2011 study from the University of Pittsburgh found that just 40 minutes of walking 3 times a week increased hippocampal volume in older adults, reversing age-related shrinkage. Second, your blood vessels. Walking stimulates nitric oxide production, which relaxes your arteries and lowers blood pressure. That's why people who walk regularly have up to a 30% lower risk of stroke and heart attack. Even short walks after meals can dramatically lower post-meal blood sugar spikes, which contribute to vessel damage. Third, cancer prevention. Walking reduces estrogen and insulin levels, 2 key hormones that fuel tumor growth. It also improves immune surveillance, meaning your body is better able to detect and destroy abnormal cells before they become a problem. One study from the American Cancer Society found that older women who walked at least 7 hours a week had a 14% lower risk of breast cancer. Another study showed that regular walking cut colon cancer risk by up to 50%. Now here's where it gets personal. I had a patient named Warren, 71 years old, former contractor, big, tough guy, came to me after a mini stroke. We ran all the tests. Nothing too alarming, but his blood pressure was creeping up, cholesterol borderline, memory foggy, and he hadn't exercised in years. I told him, "Warren, I'm not asking you to join a gym. I just want 30 minutes of walking a day, every day. No excuses." He grumbled, said he'd try. 6 months later, he came back. Blood pressure down 18 points. LDL cholesterol lower. Blood sugar stable. He looked younger. More importantly, he said, "Doc, I feel like my head's clear again, and here's the key." Warren didn't make any other changes. No crash diets, no medication tweaks. Just walking every single day, rain or shine, and his body began to heal. That's what walking does. Because walking is not just movement, it's momentum for your entire system. It boosts circulation, oxygenates your brain, stimulates lymphatic drainage, lowers cortisol, increases serotonin, and resets your circadian rhythm. It strengthens joints, ligaments, tendons, and teaches your body how to stay upright, coordinated, and engaged. And the best part? It's free. No side effects, no special equipment. All you need is a pair of shoes and a willingness to reclaim your health. The 7-day impact: how walking reverses your blood markers in a week. If you knew that a single daily habit could change your blood test results in just 7 days, would you try it? I'm not talking about months of waiting or vague wellness promises. I'm talking about real, measurable changes seen in your blood pressure, blood sugar, inflammation markers, and brain chemistry. After just 1 week of doing this daily. That's the kind of power walking holds. And in this part, I want to show you exactly how quickly your body responds to daily walking, especially after age 60. Let's begin with blood pressure. A meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Sports